Hi, how are you guys doing today?
I'm
Okay.
good.
Good.
Well, it's nice to see you both again. I'm really happy you could show up. Is there anything that's been going on, anything specific you two would like to kind of address this session?
So I've been having a lot of thoughts like going on in my head.
Okay.
So I found myself in a situation where I feel regretful right now for the infidelity that
Mhm.
I did. Um, and I don't want it to ruin or change the relationship that I have with Nick. Um, in a way, I think I just keep thinking about it and I feel like consumed by the thought of what I did
Mhm.
because it wasn't for emotional reasons. It wasn't like I'm out of love with her. It's just that I feel maybe I have too much time and I don't feel like I'm being given the time that I need from her.
Okay.
And so I guess I'm trying to like process those feelings because she didn't deserve it. And I feel horrible about it now.
Okay. Nick, how does hearing that make you feel?
Well, I've heard the apology before. It just sucks, I'm already overwhelmed from working. I help her with the kids. And then after providing everything for your family, you find out you get cheated on. And it's, you know, like I want to be able to get over it, but you know, I can't change that it happened. Uh, you know,
Mhm.
hurts.
Jules, how does that make you feel?
Well, knowing that I hurt her, um, I think maybe what's like really getting to me is that I didn't, I just really like the attention that was being given to me. And I think that was a large part of why I did it because I felt regretful immediately after. But it's the attention that kind of kept me like, like stringed along. Although I know to myself that it was wrong and I didn't want to be doing it, that kind of attention, I guess I got caught up with it and it consumed me. And now the thoughts are consuming me because I know that I've hurt her and she provides for us and she's never home because she's providing for us. So, in a way, I feel like I have to start accepting maybe how to navigate, my feelings
Mhm.
because she's doing so much for us already. And now I've just went and added, this large guilt on myself and just hurt onto her. And so it kills me to see like that it's really hurting her.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you two would like to move forward with your relationship and kind of begin that healing process. It's evident that you guys have talked through the details. As Nick said, like she's heard the apology before. So you guys have kind of talked through that. Would you want to re-go over kind of like how it happened, or do you want to just start like the healing process and trying to move forward?
I think I would like to start the healing process, but I'd like to hear what she has to say.
Okay, Nick?
Well, I feel like I've heard it as many times as more than I've wanted to. Um, I want to start the healing process, but easier said than done.
Okay. So for today, I'm thinking that something called ACT might benefit you two a little bit, since I know we kind of talked about having the kids here for some of the sessions, but clearly this isn't something that you guys really want to go into detail with them around for. So now that I just have both of you here, I think that kind of using this now would benefit your relationship, since that is a huge priority. Since if you guys want to heal, you need to both be present in order to be there for your children fully. So ACT is acceptance and commitment training. So it is a form of therapy that's kind of focused on mindfulness and acceptance, which I believe would benefit both of you. There are about 6 different sections of it, but they all tie together. So I do have a diagram that I can show you guys. Let me share my screen. Actually, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, I can just describe it. That's fine. So for the first one, we're going to focus on being present. So it is clear that both of you are kind of here because you want to heal. And so what do you both believe that kind of like being present really means? Like, do you think it's just when you're going through hard times, or like, do you think it's more of like a relationship long kind of like commitment?
Well, for me, I would say that in a way I would demand more, like not demand, but I require more of like for that commitment, just it has to be active and thorough and it has to be continuous. Um, which is sort of where it ties back into I just, the attention, some form of attention was better than no attention for me at all at that moment.
Mhm.
And so I feel like that definitely is how that would look for me, just a lot more time.
Okay. Okay. Nick?
When I hear being present, for me, it's more so of what can I give to help, so, maybe that's why I'm not around 24/7 because I'm at work and I'm, trying to provide for the family. I'm trying to make their present as best that I can make it.
Okay. Jules, how does that make you feel? Or what comes to
Um, I feel like it's important, but maybe sometimes like things can get lost in translation. And when kids get in the picture, you kind of start to forget about yourselves. Like, we have like our partners, and the consistency of income is definitely important. But for me, I definitely think that more consistency in like our relationship would help better it.
Okay. And this kind of also ties in. So each section of ACT ties in together. So it's 6 sections, it's a star, it all connects. So this also kind of goes into the next one, which would be values. So kind of talking through like what is the most important thing for you, which I'm hearing from you, Jules, that it's like kind of like not attention, but like just like the caring aspect in person. Whereas Nick, it's more of like caring externally and providing. Can you two kind of think of any other values that maybe in the past, like you both have seen that have gone away that you would want to bring back, or anything of that nature?
Possibly, I guess since Nick is busy working so often that, and this is not to rationalize what I've done, but in a way, if she was more present, there would be a lot more like just compassion and like affection and just time really spent between us, which is really what I wanted when I was doing, things that I did not really consider the after effect for.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Nick?
Well, I feel like communication is a huge value for me. Maybe if attention is what she wanted, she could have, told me that was the case. And maybe I could have compromised and put a little bit of more time into the home instead of doing what I thought was best for the family, which was, providing and making sure our kids had strong values and that they were motivated to also be providers, and communication is,
Absolutely. And I heard you say compromise. So that I do believe is going to be kind of a big thing that is going to be necessary in the next upcoming few sessions, few months, few years. So it is great to hear that you are willing to compromise. Jules, do you also kind of like resonate with that, believe in that? Or is it more of like have needs?
Definitely. I think compromise is on both ends, but I feel maybe that right now compromise is something that I really need to work on. Um, I feel like that is very important, and I should be, able to communicate more to Nick about what I'm missing and, how we can better it. So, yeah, I would say so.
Okay. And then commitment, kind of, that's the next aspect. That one, it's pretty evident you guys are committed to the process. You're here, so showing up, huge, huge step. So that one, I think you guys are doing pretty well. And then self is context. So I kind of just want to like put this into perspective where something happened, but that doesn't necessarily change yourself as a person. It's kind of more of like an external circumstance that happened. And if you two are willing to kind of like work through it, which I do believe you are, that's kind of going to be a huge aspect of it. But you also can kind of see your relationship as a self. So you two are different people, but also like combined in one. So more of like not you against the other, but like you two against what is going on. Which sometimes that's hard to, kind of see, especially in the middle of an argument or like if something's going on where it's like you're just angry with each other. It's kind of like looking at it instead of like, Jules, you're angry with Nick for not being there. Nick, you're mad about Paul. Kind of just being like, okay, like we are looking at this as the problem, not the other person as the problem. And then diffusion and acceptance, those are the next two. So for this one, it's going to be more of an exercise now, but also something that I believe will kind of, you'll be able to use in the future as well on your own. So it's more of just kind of like observing how you're feeling, and rather than needing that instant validation or that instant like relief, it's more of just sitting and feeling. So say, Jules, for example, you're feeling kind of neglected in the relationship from presence, or you feel as though you're just lonely. Kind of looking at how that makes you feel rather than instantly being like, okay, well, why am I lonely? I'm lonely because Nick isn't here. And then kind of like getting wrapped up in that thought, but more of just like okay, I'm lonely. How do I feel? Like that kind of instance. So is there anything in particular that you would want to like work on feeling, or like that makes you feel the most kind of like insecure?
For me, I would say that it is the last two of the acts. I definitely have to like identify those feelings when I do feel alone.
Okay.
And instead of rationalizing it, like you said, sitting with them and just identifying the feeling, I feel alone because she's at work. And that's something that I don't really do often whatsoever. I guess I get caught up in my own worries and the stuff that I'm doing around the house for the kids, and in a lot of ways I start to forget that she also has a lot going on as the provider and like the structure essentially of the family.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick, what about you?
I would actually have to agree with the Joni. I think a lot of times I feel things and I realize that I don't either have the time or capacity to allow myself to actually feel them because there's so many things to do. I think I too easily, you know, I get feelings and then I easily just brush it off just to be more efficient in providing for the family.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So this is kind of another example of like how you both kind of are handling different situations very differently. So Jules, you kind of feel everything all at once. Like it just piles on top of you. And then Nick, it's more of just like you feel it, but don't really feel as though you have the time to feel it. So it's kind of just brushing it off. So that could be one of the reasons why it is getting a little frustrating. But I do think that kind of like just allowing the space in your life to feel those emotions, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Like at the end of the day, you're just sitting there and you can both just think rather than having to kind of try to talk through the situation, which I know is easier said than done. But kind of just like using your five senses. So like, how does it physically make you feel? Like just think about that rather than solutions. So like if you're stressed out and like you have butterflies in your stomach, or like you feel as though it's like flipping up and down, like kind of paint a picture in your head of what that feeling looks like. So trying to think of a way to picture it like a little person. So you're just very caught up, like very anxious, stressed out, like running around trying to like figure it out. It's like a little version of something. Don't make it you, but like just a little version of something. What do you think that person would look like? Just you can go first.
For me, I think that person would look a lot more confident in a way. Because I don't feel as confident since Nick's always working and she's very busy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and for me, that little person would kind of be like a supporter on the shoulder kind of person. So that's what I imagine that it would look for me.
Okay. Nick?
Strangely to the contrary, actually, I think that person would almost make me weaker.
Okay.
In the sense that it would put more pressure on me. I just felt like it would kind of add a weight on me, slow me down in terms of, making me less efficient. It would make me less productive. It's just to expend that much energy into, feeling these emotions that I usually brush off.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that both of them really do represent what you're kind of trying or putting effort into feeling, but I can kind of sense a little bit of like hesitancy from both of you, but it is the first step. So that I love the little pictures. I can honestly see it perfectly for both of you. So that's a really good job. Since the session is coming to an end, is there anything either of you would like to touch on or go over before? And I also do want this to be kind of like a little homework before the next session to kind of just sit with those feelings and just see how it feels. You don't have to do anything about it. You can, if 5 minutes go by and you still want to try to talk through it with each other, absolutely do that. Like do what you believe is best for your relationship, but also just kind of try to like not internalize everything, but just like bring it back for a second, look at it as an external situation, kind of like talk through it yourself. And then once you kind of figure it out, talk through it with each other. Do you think you can do that?
Yes. I think I will definitely be focusing more on leaving the situation and viewing it from an external point of view, especially since I get so far into my head a lot of times.
Yeah.
So I definitely will be doing that assignment.
Okay.
Same. I think I'm not in my head enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, absolutely. And I can email you guys both that diagram. So even just kind of thinking through it yourself, kind of just being like, okay, just quick check-in. What are my values? What am I looking for? And then that can also just be a conversation starter between you two, rather than kind of just only focusing on, the kids or college coming up for one of them and like wanting the other one to get a job. Like more of just little conversation starters between you two, you know, put the focus back on building your relationship rather than just what has happened in the past, you know. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming. I'm here all the time, so you can reach me by email. I'll respond my earliest convenience, no later than 24 hours, but also if it's an emergency, feel free to text. I'm always on my phone, so yes, feel free.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great
Thank
day,
you.
guys.